sir. Yes, sir. Welcome on in, everybody. You already know what time it is. Welcome back to the MoSports studio. You already know who I am, Matt Miracle, alongside the one, the only. What's happening? How we feeling? Oh, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you coming in. Obviously, if you guys are familiar with MoSports, what we do over here, you know exactly who LJ is, just how much this kid's been balling out. So I'm excited to share with you guys his journey. And let's have a little chat about the state of the NBA. Double R, what's happening, baby? Hope you're having a good Monday. Not a victory Monday, because unfortunately my Giants had to do you guys a little crazy yesterday. It's all right. All right, Double R, I'll give you a little bit of slack. You know, week 18, not everybody's trying their hardest. New York Giants just happen to be. So it happens. Hopefully you guys can gear up come playoff time. But I'm joined by LJ today, and we're going to talk some NBA. A lot of matchups going on tonight. Let's kick things off first with the Clippers going up against the Phoenix Suns. LJ, what are your thoughts on the defensive-minded Clippers taking on an offensive-minded Phoenix Suns?
I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I think the playing field as far as like our players pretty even. Each team has about 3-4 all-stars on the team, which, in my opinion, I think the Suns have the better cavalry as far as depth goes. I don't know if you caught the Lakers game last night, kind of fell apart in that second half. So things of that nature. Maybe pick the Suns over the.
All right. I mean, it's been a busy start of the NBA season. We're seeing a lot of guys come in and out of rotations, a lot of crazy pieces getting moved around. The Clippers, obviously, Paul George's name that comes up a lot in trade talks. Kawhi Leonard is somebody that's missing a few games, always due to load management. Okay, Double R, appreciate you let me know there. Let's see. Turn that down a little bit. My bad. But yeah, so if you're a team like the Lakers or a team like the Suns, you have obvious adjustments to make heading into this trade deadline. What can you do to really make yourself better? Where would you start from, a basketball player's perspective?
I think it starts within the core. Those first five is going to be the most impactful and kind of set the tone and the pace of the game. So if you in today's NBA, you have about 2-3 all-stars on every team. If you really go down the list, that really is the core start of, I guess, the NBA blueprint right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the new CAA, or the new CBA, I should say, you're not allowed to have more than 2 stars on a roster or else things start getting a little chippy. How do you kind of build around that and really get the intangible guys? We had mentioned it a little bit before we went live, just about the guys that don't necessarily show up on stat sheets. How do you, as a basketball player, kind of make yourself into somebody that's always kind of a Swiss Army knife on the court?
You just got to work on being is versatile. Every day I have the same starting 5-10 exercises. We might have the same 5-10 drills, but every day we're working on something new. And it sounds crazy, but it's better to get better at something different every day than to really focus on one specific thing, because in today's NBA, like you just mentioned, the Swiss Army knife is a very valuable piece in the NBA. We're not really having set positions anymore. It's really positionless basketball, aside from centers, in my opinion.
Yeah, is that really something we're shifting into? Is it just going to be 4 guards and a big man every team heading into say the 2030 NBA season? Are we just going to be expecting even guys like Victor Wembanyama, who is a point center at this point? It doesn't make sense. Can you break down, obviously you played overseas, so some of this overseas style of play from Spain, from Africa, I mean, all over the place. What's going on here? How are they producing such phenoms at this high of a level?
Beats me, man. Beats me. It's something in the water for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out what it is. But honestly, these phenoms, it comes from that foundation of just being versatile, I myself, was shorter up until about 8th, 9th grade. And then I grew up on the foundation of being a guard and then transitioned into a taller player. And then you learn different moves as a big man. You learn different spacing and paces and things like that. But you add that to a 7'4" body frame, and there you have it. These type of things are the things that make players valuable, being able to do more than one thing from top to bottom.
So it's almost like these big players, you practice like a guard, and then you just use kind of the tools that you were given, your size, your length, and you use those to your advantage. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
As if you that's really kind of a good insight, because you don't really understand. You see a guy like Wembanyama come out, his warm-ups look crazy. First off, his warm-ups look absolutely absurd. He's doing crazy stretches. and he's all over the place. And then he looks like a gazelle on the floor. He takes 3 steps from the half court and he's dunking the ball. It's incredible. I mean, you see guys like him, Chet Holmgren, these lengthy kind of individuals. Is it the Kevin Durant build that's really going to be taking over basketball in the coming years?
Yeah, I see it. I see it now. A lot of these high school players are very tall. You got like Cooper Flag and things of his class. And even in college now, there's a guy on Purdue who's 7'4".
Yeah.
And things of that nature is just, insane to know now that a 7'5" guy can have the same tool bag as a guy that's 6'5".
Yeah. That's pretty scary. And what do you do if you're a shorter player trying to adapt to this game now? Because you can't teach height, you can't go out into the gym and work on, your length and your wingspan. What do you do to try and compensate that?
I guess you just got to sharpen with what you have, Like I said, positionless basketball comes with an asterisk next to it. And outside of the center position, I would say you could argue the point guard position. That stretch 4, stretch 3, you can't really have him run sets and bring the ball up consistently. So if you're a shorter guy, I would definitely just key in on really being able to handle the ball and opening up situations on the floor that can make you valuable as well as a team,
Yeah, and honestly, defense might be the move. Yeah. If you can't, be on the offensive side as an asset due to your wingspan or your length, may as well be a Patrick Beverly type of guy that's at least going to be a dog on the court, or like an Alex Caruso, a guy that isn't tall by any means, but he's going to go and get his hand in the cookie jar when he can. I mean, what's happening, brother? How you doing? Is it Victory Monday for the Bengals? Congrats. Nice little dub. Use the floater when you're a smaller guy. Yeah, you got to try and utilize. I mean, Fred VanVleet, he got paid, and now he's over in Houston trying to do everything he can to stay above water over there. Guys like Trae Young. I mean, is the game sustainable for shorter guys and having to put in that extra effort to make up for it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Proof is in the pudding. You have Stephen Curry, and that's his gold mine as far as it gets. As far as short guards that can thrive in the NBA, and all short people that consider themselves out of the frame or out of the ideal, look, shouldn't really ever give up. If Fred VanVleet, who is also shorter than Steph Curry, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Can also thrive and be like a co-star or a main piece of a team. Anybody that's shorter can do it,
So your advice to the younger generations of hoopers looking to make their own lane, because obviously you have a guy like Stephen Curry coming out and shooting the lights out. You have LeBron James, who's a forward playing like a guard. You have Michael Jordan, who's one of the savviest players of all time. They look at these guys, they idolize their game. How do you think that they should approach just taking one step at a time, one day at a time, trying to better themselves as basketball players? It's a very broad question. There's so many different ways you could go about it. But if you had to say, hey, here's a book, Basketball for Beginners, steps to being Michael Jordan, what would you say is the number one kind of rule to that book?
Okay. So for me, it would start out with, some words to live by. And the first words that I would preach is consistency. And it's really, about each day trying to just sharpen your tools a little bit more than the day before. And that's how I take it now. I used to think long-term and was a kid in high school that had, dreams of NBA and dreamed myself in big arenas. And that's fine and well, but you have to focus on the steps in between there and the finish line.
Absolutely.
So as a young player, I would really focus on, sharpening your tools the best you can for high school and figuring out what college you want to go to and what that team is, their play style, and work on what you need to get to there. While you're in college, enjoy life, enjoy that, live in the moment there. And towards the end of your career, once you're ready to make that next step, that's when you start focusing on what you need for the next step. You can't skip steps in the basketball process at all. If you try to skip steps, you end up living in a circle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're skipping the steps, truthfully, you're never and say you skip the steps entirely and you get that end goal. You get to that end goal and you realize you faked it the whole way. A lot of times the journey is part of the process that is kind of most rewarding. And especially in that sense, when you're learning and you're adjusting, especially to the new age of basketball, there's probably so many things that are constantly in motion, constantly keeping up, that you have no choice but to stay locked in constantly. And that comes with that consistency. And another word I'd probably say is just that discipline, right? Because in order to stay consistent, you have to have discipline. You have to be able to show up every day, be able to better yourself every day, in and out. And it's not easy. But for a guy like yourself, who you said you had dreams of NBA aspirations, and then you figured out that you can make this kind of own lane for yourself, what would you say to somebody that is dreaming to be Michael Jordan, but listen, We got to come down to earth a little bit and figure out where we can really dig our toes in the sand and make a name for ourselves.
I mean, how you finished it is pretty best. That's how I look at it, you know, like you can have big dreams, but you have to be realistic, you know? And for me, you know, I'm from a small town and I went to a small college. I knew the next step would be overseas. It's not going to be a quick jump to the NBA. And like you said, the steps in between there and the NBA, it's not going to be easy, but that's the road you got to take.
Yep. And oftentimes those are the roads that aren't highlighted, because we talked about this even the other day. It's always like the Zion Williamson type of guys, the Caleb Williams, that get all these like this spotlight and this treatment of just like they're a Hollywood superstar, and they not have the easiest road because they are putting in the work and they're putting in the effort, but they kind of it's already there and paved for them. You know, they just kind of have to follow that blueprint. For somebody that has to make their own blueprint, you know, it comes a lot more intangibles that we really don't see in a lot of the behind the scenes things that go on. And that's another reason that we were super excited to do this live stream tonight, is to have LJ on to talk about these things. And what would you say is one thing that is different in your everyday life in comparison to somebody that's just a one and done, say, college basketball player?
Ooh, that's a long list, but one thing I can say is, you know what I mean, that I'm trying to balance being basically a blue collar worker as well as a pro athlete. You know what I mean? And all my funds, everything that I do, you know what I mean, is propelled towards that basketball career. And I made that shift, you know what I mean, about my sophomore year of college. You know, I wiped all my social media of, you know, the fit pictures and things of that nature that just don't go aligning with the demographic that I'm trying to play for and work for, you know? So I had to live the life before I came to the life, you know, if that kind of makes sense. You know, I put a lot of production into getting real nice highlight videos. I put a lot of production into making sure all my posts sent a message or had some type of motivational purpose behind it. And that really was, you know, different for me. You know, I'm trying to live an agent, entrepreneur, my own marketing, as well as going to work 9 to 5 to fund this whole career. And somebody that's one and done, that has, you know, a coaching staff that is pushing this whole image for you. You have a notable school that one post can change your life.
Yep.
And I don't knock on it, you know what I mean? My dice were rolled how they were rolled, and
everybody's path is different, you know?
I never, you know what I mean, want to change my past because it made me who I am today, you know?
Yep.
And other than that, you know, I would say that's the biggest difference for me. You know, I'm living a double life of, you know, me being a pro basketball player and also having to go to work every morning.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Zion, you know, Zion probably couldn't. He physically could not.
Literally.
His body couldn't handle that. But no, that's a big reason. Like I said, why we wanted to have LJ on here is to spread the word and basically give your agenda of what's about to go down in these next coming months. So
100%, right?
Yeah,
100%.
Give a little insight on basically what's the next step for you in terms of your basketball career and LJ Robinson as a brand.
All right. The next step in my career, I'm going to be competing in the basketball league. It's called the TBL, and it's a pro basketball league in North America that ties in with the Canadian league called the Basketball Super League. And they have Canadian teams as well as American teams all throughout the East and West Coast, North and South as well. And basically, it's, in my opinion, and what many coaches and other players have said, it's one step below the G League. And for me, it's going to be a stepping stone to where I'm going to do 1 year here and my options are going to explode after. You know, what I do in this next couple months to June, everybody's going to see now. You can mark this tape down. It's going to be, you know, life. And yeah, that's about it, bro. It's a great situation. If people do their backstory, the Celtics right now, a couple players on their G League team as well as on their bench, I believe 2 players played in the TBO. So they're a great foundation.
It's nothing to sniff at. And everybody that knows, we actually had a discussion. I can attest to this in the MoSports group chat the other day, just about how crazy these pro athletes, yourself included, are in comparison just to the regular day LA Fitness type of person. I think it was we were talking about the Brian Scalabrine video where he's like, I'm closer to Kobe and LeBron than you are to me. And, you know, that's proven through the everyday ins and outs, like I said, that we don't get to see. And so within these next coming months, there's probably going to be so much on your plate. How are you prepared to kind of handle all of this? Like you said, being a blue collar worker and then handling a pro basketball career. What's the mental capacity like? And how are you going to break this down to make it, all right, here's how I can do this?
Great question. That's a lot of planning. You know what I mean? That's what I do best, you know. Like I said, over the last 3-4 years now, I've really had to isolate and, you know, when you isolate and you feel a lot of anxiety building up, that's usually a sign of change coming. And I accepted it full on, and I kind of just compartmentalized a lot of my life, like I have my work side and I have me, which is right now what I'm taking. And that's really what it is. When I go to work those 2-3 days out the week, I turn everything off, and at the time I'm clocked in, as soon as I clock out, it's right back to diet, training, what I got to eat, what I got to sleep, things of that nature. And that's 24/7 for me. I'm literally, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, worried about how my body feels, how much I ate, how much water I'm drinking, how much sleep I got the last night. It's down to the T. It's down to the T.
Seriously. And that's what is really necessary. And it's so funny because it's two totally different sides of the spectrum, but I feel as if I somewhat relate in a sense that, hey, the podcasting stuff, this is my gym right here. You know what I mean? This is my, when I'm sitting here editing a video, editing clips, editing highlights, that's my grind. And then I go to the gym and then I go to work, and it's always just trying to make myself better in every aspect. That way, when I put my head on the pillow at night, it's like, all right, today was a successful day. Today I bettered myself. And I feel like that's really what it's all about, is just being able to take that pride in yourself at the end of the day, knowing that you're getting closer to your dreams. And honestly, I feel like that's a huge key. And not to get a little Monday motivational here, but I feel like that's a huge key to happiness too, is just knowing that you're on a path and you're steadily increasing your odds at your dreams coming true. And how do you feel knowing, hey, this is something that's now becoming tangible to me. I'm really going to do this.
Yeah, that's 100%. You just said it perfectly, bro. Like, that's the biggest thing that I fall back on is the work, so like, all anxiety and worries, kind of dwindle down when I can think to myself, I did all that I did when I go to sleep at that day. I got the most utilization out of this day that I could have, I worked out as hard as I could. I got XYZ checked off my personal workout list. I got my marketing done for myself. I got my diet, my work stuff.
No worries.
My work stuff done, and as well as everything else I need to do.
Yeah, no, it's literally double R. There it is. 1% better every day, 1 foot in front of the other. That's the only way you can get there. And so let me hear, what are the aspirations? Say 3 months from now, where are you going to be looking back? Like, okay, here's how I accomplished this. Here's what I did. Where's LJ in 3 to 4 months?
Going to be thriving in the TBL, kind of networking where the next step is going to be, and seeing where God takes me. That's really about it.
So aside from basketball, what else are you looking to accomplish in that time?
I'd like to establish a podcast of my own. I like to give my personal side of things. Like I said, I've cleaned up pretty much all my socials. All you're going to see is motivation, workout, or basketball. That's pretty much all you're going to see, and that's just my business side of things, and that's how it's going to be. And if you want to see a more personal side of me, that's where you're going to have to tune in. And I like to just establish that as kind of a good platform for people to see, the real and the truth of somebody who had to grind, not the washed version of what they tell you to post and what they tell you to say to make it look like, this was all a smooth journey. I want to give people the real,
Yeah, the real insight as to how, these things operate. And because like I said, not everybody gets just that silver spoon of, hey, I'm going to Duke for this 1 year and then I'm going to the league. Sometimes you have to make your own way. And if nobody's going to give you that, you got to do it yourself. You got to do it yourself. So, all right, let's dive back into some other NBA games we got going on tonight. We have the Jazz going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks, a guy like Dame Lillard comes in, and it seems as if the Bucks have taken a step back. Is it possible that of a guy that caliber, that good of an offensive player, can set your team back that much, being a defensive liability?
Yeah, it's been surprising. It's been surprising, to say the least. I didn't see this coming. And I will say to that point that when it comes down to it, you have to get stops. You could say from an offensive perspective that the team that scores the most is always going to win, but clearly, obviously, that's how basketball is scored. But getting a stop is what's going to set your team apart from, keeping that lead. And if you can't do that, and all we're relying on is you dribbling the ball 12 to 14 seconds of every shot clock because he's, a ball-dominant point guard.
Yeah.
To give 2 or 4 or 3 points up every time down, it's a bad plus-minus ratio.
Yeah. Now, how big does fit matter in these basketball teams, not just NBA, but even teams that you're on as well. How big is kind of the fit of a team? Because it seemed like Drew Holiday was a way better fit for the Milwaukee Bucks and gave them a way better identity as a team than Damian Lillard.
Yeah, the fit is everything now at this point. You see the Lakers during the summer, there was a lot of talk about they won the off-season trade and everything looked good on paper. And at this point, they have, I think, 2 players that literally haven't played all season.
Yeah.
So things of that nature, it's hard to call. Like the fit on paper might look good, but until they get some chemistry on the floor and really, see how they mesh in times where they play good teams, when there's a bad referee in the foul or swaying the game, like that really makes or break teams.
Yeah. I mean, Drew Holiday seemingly was a glove for that team. He seems like he was the backbone. As much as Giannis, we love to say that Giannis was a defensive player of the year candidate the past couple of years. He's obviously a good rim protector. And then you have Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, who are also very much above average defenders. You stick one guy like Damian Lillard in there, and all of a sudden everything's going sideways. Do you think that they kind of got greedy in terms of what they were trying to squeeze out of this Milwaukee team?
Yeah. I don't know, like I said, we spoke about this off camera, but speculation when the trade went wrong, that in itself showed me that there was going to be some turmoil when Giannis said that he didn't know about the trade, and then Damian Lillard said that he did, and there was text messages resurfacing and things of that nature. It's weird, It's weird.
Yeah, my camera decided to cut you out. Hold on one second. Let me get you back in here. All right. So, another guy that's seemingly not fitting, Gabe Vincent with the Lakers. I mean, he's been hurt a majority of the season, but how much credit does Eric Spoelstra get for turning these role players into guys that go out and get them $19 million a year?
It's a great deal on his behalf, giving them that exposure, being able to, instill that confidence in the player and, do it gradually. You're not just telling him he's the guy and it looks blatant. He's turning, like you said, those players that you really would think about as a role player, and you're turning into key points, that are consistently giving you good production night in and night out. Like that's a great, a testament to coach-player relationship, in my opinion.
And how much does a good coach make an impact on the team?
It makes a lot. To the same notion, I think player-led teams win championships, but the coach from top to bottom is going to set the tone. Just how, your parents are going to set the tone for how you approach life as an adult. Like your parents are lazy and they don't really have no work ethic, you're going to do the same thing. You might have a couple people there on the other side of things where they want to be the opposite, but with a sport team, you're looking at the coach kind of as, not a dictator, but he's kind of leading the pack.
Yep.
So if my coach isn't on us about being at workouts on time, and he says practice is at this time, and he's an hour late and doesn't say anything to the players, what does that say as far as the professionalism to the team?
Yeah. What up, Gabby? How we doing, baby? Appreciate the comment. My guy Nick says, how about that poster on PG last night from Goat James?
Jesus, Goat James. That man is 39 going on 20.
Yeah, no, seriously. And so let's talk about LeBron a little bit. Being that he's 39 years old, this is getting a little crazy. I have noticed watching the Lakers, he definitely isn't the same LeBron that he was, say, 5 years ago. But the guy's still out here performing at an elite level and a very high one at that, putting up pretty much the same statistics we always know LeBron to do. But what do you say about a guy that's been able to have that type of longevity throughout his career?
Few words is just greatness, like to set this plan and be that consistent day in and day out. It's hard to do, you know, like a lot of people, that say they start on new year, new me. I give it 3 months, before it starts to dwindle down, and not saying people fall off and give up on their resolutions, but something in your schedule is going to change.
Yeah.
And to be at a point of being labeled the chosen one at 18, step into the league in 2003, and here we are 21 years. A lot of people can't do something for 3 months, I just said, let alone 21 years of the
highest level
schedule and continuing to grow and continuing to strive for more. It's insane. It's insane.
Nick coming in on IG and the YouTube. Nick, we appreciate the love, brother. Thank you very much. He says, but yeah, Bradley Martin?
Yeah.
Did you hear him basically saying LeBron is on some sort of substance?
Yeah. I didn't really buy in on that one.
No. I mean, they were talking about, he brought up Kobe, I think it was. He said Kobe went to like Bangkok or something and got like stem cell stuff done for his Achilles, I think it was. And they were like, he recovered in record time, and it's something along the lines of that. But is there any chance that LeBron is out here using any form of performance enhancing substance that might be just below, say, the banned substance list? Or even, is it getting even crazier? Is Adam Silver just, kind of turning face and letting LeBron, because he's LeBron James, use these types of substances? It's a deep rabbit hole. It's a deep rabbit hole.
This is some speculation right here. This is some speculation. I don't know. I don't know if I can get down with that, As a basketball player myself, you want to say he's, going the natural route, and you want to bank on
him just being great.
You want to bank on the legal investments he makes for his body. I like to say, from my own personal experience, really changing your diet and, taking care of your body goes a long way. And you times that by LeBron's income, and it's on the surface level, we know that he spends $1 million per year on the surface level. So, considering that, and having a chef 24/7, having a chamber where you can reset, your body's natural, energy balance and things like that.
Some Skip Bayless type journalism, and Matt Kellerman and Skip Bayless comparisons in a minute is crazy. That's crazy, but it was a legitimate conversation, and I feel like it is, just because we've never seen this before. And I'm not saying he's on anything performance enhancing. I feel like that's honestly discrediting him. Like you said, that's discrediting his greatness. You want to say it's just him being, if you're coming in and day out, 21 years of this, you're gonna be a GOAT.
Yeah, and that's what I like. That's what I bank on, and as far as falling back on what I said earlier about falling back on your work.
Yep.
Nobody else has done anything that he's doing right now, so nobody else, me can speak on that perspective. Nobody has did treatment on their legs for 10 years straight, let alone 1 year. It's you don't even know what your body would feel like if you had all the access to his recovery system.
That's very true.
So it's easy to say, he's on drugs. In Bradley Martin's case, being a bodybuilder and a lifter, you're going to be in pain most of the time. So it's easy to say somebody's on drugs when you see them doing athletic stuff on a basketball court.
Yeah.
When you don't have that same recovery and all you're doing is lifting weights. It's a whole different thing. Basketball and weightlifting go hand in hand, but it's not as big of a factor as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Posing and being on stage and lifting is a lot different than a 40-minute workout and 2 hours on the court.
Yeah, athletic workout. Yeah. Absolutely. It's an interesting conversation to have, and I'm sure people are going to be speculating it kind of till the end of time. And Nick says, is it just me, or is Bronny's player comparison like a KCP? I think more of a shooting guard, small forward than a pure
I would
guard.
Say more of a, honestly, I'd say more of a D Wade. I would say more of a young D Wade that can shoot a lot better. Because Bronny, he's going to grow into himself, and I've been a fan since a young player and been watching his journey. I think in long term, he might hit another growth spurt in college. I myself grew up in college, so once that happens,
that could get crazy. And Bryce is out here looking pretty nuts too, himself.
Exactly, and both of them, it's in their genes. They're liable to get about 6'7" to 6'9". So we don't know what the long-term history could be of either one of them. Right now, it's so hard to gauge, and that's what we're made to do. We're judging the now, we're living in the moment like we're supposed to. But as far as 2-3 years from now, I think both of them, when it's said and done, are going to be scary.
Yeah. Bronny, his potential is kind of infinite. And if you're an NBA team looking at him, what are your thoughts? Is he going to be next up?
Main event, that's definitely a different type of tax bracket. $1 million minimum on your body. A lot of people ain't doing that.
Nah. What up, Simo? How we doing, baby? Remember Lance Stevenson was carrying those tires just like LeBron? Once his growth spurt happens, we'll see. Yeah, because honestly, right now, people are coming at him for his numbers being somewhat underwhelming at USC. But come on, coming out off of the summer he went into cardiac arrest over the summer. So it's probably going to take him a little bit to get back into it. There's a guy, and I don't know how much this compares, but there's a guy at my gym, and he's a really athletic dude, and he had a stroke of some sorts over the summer, and he came back and was like, dude, just even getting back into the rhythm of things lifting wise, he was like, it took me probably 2 months until I felt even somewhat okay, let alone normal again. So how much is Bronny going to have to adjust come this, March Madness tournament if they want to make a little push?
I can't speak on, going into cardiac arrest. I have at one point in my life had heart palpitations, and they've dwindled down, to a minimum level now, at my age. But, it takes a while, it takes a toll on your body, it takes a toll on your mind, as far as, like you said, with a stroke, that's a lot different than what deals with the heart. That's your brain. So
Yeah.
Literally, the thought process that we have to get out of the seat, we don't think of. It's second nature.
Yep.
Once you have a stroke and a cardiac arrest, like breathing and normal functions that we do second nature, you actually have to actively focus and try to do. Like,
yeah, that's
it takes
scary.
time to get back to that. Normal. Like you said, like him probably just going on a treadmill and the motion of running, remembering how to jog and set a pace.
Yeah.
It's probably, a journey. It takes time to get back to that.
And then beyond that, your name is LeBron James Jr. And these expectations are just like, you have to come out and do everything you can.
They want to see rookie year LeBron.
No, they literally do. They're just like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like the same one that was at, St. Vincent, St. Mary. It's crazy. Who we got for the NCAA Natty? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to be rooting for Washington. I think I want to see Michael Penix take this one home. What about you, LJ? You going for Harbaugh or are you going for Michael Penix in Washington?
I think I'm gonna go with what you said. I agree with you.
Yeah, Michael Penix. He's been looking good. I think he's definitely kind of got to prove it. A little chip on his shoulder going into this game because he's not a top draft pick going into this this NFL season or this NFL spring. And this is going to be a little bit of a chance to get his stock up. And that's really what I'm looking for. If he could step up in the pocket and really make those types of throws. Big Penix power is crazy. Double R says he's rooting for Michigan. I don't know. There's something about Harbaugh I just can't get behind entirely. I don't know. Maybe it's just his face. Maybe it's him and his brother, the Harbaugh that we had to witness when the power went out some odd years ago, but I'm not really sure. But anyways, let's bring it back to basketball before we wrap this one up. LJ, anything else you want to get off your chest coming up about your upcoming journey this spring?
Honestly, I want to let the talking and, the promotion do so.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say much, all I got to say is to everybody staying put, stay tuned. All those, that are in the shadows, watching, just know I'm coming. I'm coming.
And where can these people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at LJ_Robinson1. And that's pretty much my main social platform that you're going to find all my content on. So
as of right now, though, as of right now, things are going to be expanding. We got some big things in the works. Everybody make sure you stay tuned. Drop LJ a follow on all of his platforms. He's going to be out here expanding his game just beyond the basketball court. And we're really excited to give you a little insight on that. That one is going to wrap us up for today. Don't forget, guys, we're going to be live MoSports TV tomorrow. Myself, Simo, Ed, and hopefully Uncle Micah, we could get in. We'll talk some, obviously, the college football championship that's about to go down in a little bit. We'll talk some the latest NBA news. The Knicks dog walking the Sixers. We're gonna have to talk about it, and we're definitely going to be chatting about some of this this craziness going on with the NFL Week 18. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. LJ will definitely be back. LJ, thanks for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it. And guys, drop a follow from wherever you're coming, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.